Yen president Akuffo Addo, Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo Addo, ɛnɛma sɔre no a ɛyɛ Presby Church ɛkɔsomɛ na ɔmo celebrate bicentennial anniversary bi na nsɛm a ɔde kɔtoo dwa ɛne sɛ ɔhwɛ a for the 8 years yi otumi abɔ ne ho mmɔden paa na future generation ɛna ɛbɛbɔ n'aba so na nyɛ yɛn a afɛn sɛ yɛde no atena ase na future generation ɛyɛ deɛ ɔbɛnya asɛm bi aka ɛde afa ne ho ma yɛntie Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo Addo.
I speak to you today proud of the achievements my government has chalked under God's guidance and the support of our people. From transformative policies in education, health, agriculture, industry, and infrastructure, to the promotion of good governance and economic development, I'm confident in all humility that posterity will judge well the Akuffo Addo government's performance. Future generations will look back on this era and say that we laid a strong foundation for progress and prosperity. I would like at this stage to comment briefly on the just concluded elections, an exercise that has once again reaffirmed Ghana's enviable standing as a beacon of democracy on the African continent and in the world. We give thanks to Almighty God for the peaceful nature of the process, which allowed the sovereign will of the Ghanaian people to be manifest, and which led me to congratulate in all sincerity the winner of the presidential election, the former president of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, now president-elect. However, it is with deep concern that I acknowledge the unfortunate incidents of post-election hooliganism, vandalism, and violence that followed. Incidents which threatened to tarnish the beauty of our democratic exercise. Such acts were completely unnecessary and are wholly unacceptable. They must never reoccur. It is particularly regrettable that these unfortunate disturbances appear to involve some executives and sympathizers of the victorious party, the National Democratic Congress. As a nation, we must be resolute in our commitment to safeguarding peace, stability, and the democratic values we have worked so hard to establish.
The President-elect John Dramani Mahama has reaffirmed his commitment to continuing the free senior high school program, emphasizing that the initiative remains a priority for his administration. During a courtesy call on him by the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nana Aba Apia Amfo, the President-elect attributed challenges facing the program to a lack of dedicated funding, among others.
There's a crisis across the whole education value chain, not only at tertiary. Over the last 8 years, basic education has become worse than it ever has. There's a lack of funding. The over-concentration on secondary education has left basic education hugely unfunded. Even though a lot of money is going into the secondary level, it does not come from a dedicated fund, and there's a lot of waste and inefficiency in the way it is being spent on the free SHS. And then at the same time, tertiary education is also stuffed of funding because the GET fund, that was a good source of funding, has been collateralized. And so 60% of the GET fund has been spent in advance. That is a crisis, in our educational system. And that's why I suggested that we should hold a National Education Review Conference and look at what all the bottlenecks are. The interpretation was given that I wanted to abolish free SHS, and that's why I was calling for that meeting. And so I believe that there are nuggets of wisdom that will come out in a stakeholder consultation like this. And so we look forward to working with you on it. I think that we're going to form an organizing committee that would include people from tertiary, educational experts and others to put this whole review conference together. The free SHS has come to stay, and we're not going to cancel it. We want that it has some dedicated source of funding, because one of the major constraints is that resources and funding are not available at the right time. I want to use this opportunity to tell the headmasters and all of them, you are free to talk now. come out with what your issues are so that together we can find a solution to the challenges that we face in the educational sector.
Let's now give you the state of the free SHS policy in terms of funding. And joining us to discuss this is Martin Esiedudate by the Magic Wall.
Right.
Martin, what's the state of the free SHS policy in terms of funding?
Yeah, at least people can be rest assured that it's no more a political football because the incoming government has accepted and says it will continue where this current administration will leave off. But let's take you down memory lane and look at some specifics regarding where we came from and why this has become a topical issue. So the president of the Republic, Nana Akufo-Addo, whose government told Ghanaians that they wanted to implement a free senior high school policy, said these specific words, where he said, we are using some of the income from our oil revenue to fund the free senior high school policy. I believe strongly that this is the most equitable and transparent use of the oil revenue instead of it finding its way into the pockets of politicians and bureaucrats. This actually was to tell Ghanaians where or how the government was going to fund the free senior high school policy. And since 2017 or after 2017, when the government exceeded its budget for the free senior high school policy, it has consistently funded the program below the required amount for successful implementation. Currently, the government provides only half of the funds needed to run the free senior high school policy. And this actually ties in into what the president-elect talked about, that the policy in itself is not bad. The biggest challenge it is facing is that of funding. So let's look at how funding has been for the free senior high school policy since its inception. So this is actually, and we're sourcing this from EduWatch, who have done this research in collaboration with the Finance Ministry and the Education Ministry, because Finance Ministry, naturally, they are supposed to be releasing government funds for government policy and programs. In 2017, 2018, when it started, look at the amount. 480 million Ghana cedis was what was released for the implementation of the free senior high school. The number of people who benefited, and per unit, if you see on your screens at the far right, 1,323 people benefited directly from the free senior high school policy. That's unit per cost of the 362,775 beneficiaries. So let me just clarify that. When it started, those that benefited were 362,775, and the amount government released for them was 480 million Ghana cedis, and unit per cost of each student was 1,323. So out of the 362,775, every student had an amount of 1,323 Ghana cedis as what government was using to give them free education. Come to 2018, 2019, the amount actually increased. However, if you look at the number of beneficiaries, it had moved from 363,775 to 795,729, which meant that those that benefited had increased. And that is one of the things government has been saying, that enrollment has increased dramatically. However, there remains a challenge of, now that we have more people going to free senior high school, how do we sustain the policy? How do we sustain the program? So the numbers have increased. So look at the beneficiary column, from 300,000 to 700,000 to 1.15 million to 1.2 million, another 1.2 million. And we are talking about successive academic years. So from 2017, 2018 to 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, and 2021 to 2022. So this is just the average costing in terms of those who have the enrollment, the beneficiaries, and the amount that government has given for the program to be successful. And in 2021, 2022, the amount rose to 1,010 million. Okay? And actually,
1
it's an
billion and
increment.
10 million. Thank you very much for watching the video. May the good Lord bless you.